Body lock passing, it's important to know how to set it up properly, but it's also as important to know when to go. There's a gray area between these movements to where timing is very, very important and very effective when trying to complete and acquire this body lock passing sequence. In between movements, anytime we have an opponent going from sublime to sitting up, or you go from pushing them backwards, you're trying to get their back off the mat, it's a great idea to start initiating and attacking this body lock pass. In addition to that, throughout scrambles, whenever you can find an opportunity to, say we're in a weird scramble and just randomly I find myself kind of close to him and I'm able to lock my hands, I make sure I take advantage of that. Whenever I'm within distance of getting my shoulders over my opponent's knees and I'm close enough to lock my hands around the waist, I take advantage of that opportunity. Whether that requires me changing angle of the shoulders, putting downward pressure on my opponent's knees to draw his knees away from his torso. I always take advantage of getting my hands locked around the waist when possible. Whether opponent is facing me or on the side, I almost always take advantage of this opportunity. So just as important as knowing the proper techniques of how to set up and how to complete the body locking, it's equally as important to know when to go. Create opportunities by causing your opponent to have positive reactions in which you draw the knees away from the chest, you entice him to start sitting up from a supine position and knowing when to go. You don't want a scenario where you do a lot of work, you're getting this guy to a supine position, he starts sitting up, he starts completely sitting up, and you're trying to get your hands locked around the waist, and you're just honestly finding problems doing that because it's too late. There's a such thing as going too early, and there's also such thing as going too late. Knowing that we want to go in the gray area in the middle of the movements in between reactions. As your opponent goes from sublime and he starts initiating the sit-up, that's a perfect time that we can start going. We never want to go once he completely sits up, he's in a defensive position, nor do we want to go when his back is completely flat on the mat because we can't lock our hands. So entice reactions, get him to the sublime. As he starts initiating the sit-up, it's a perfect time to start acquiring the body lock. In addition to that, always be aware that if you can lock your hands around your opponent's waist, you can pass his guard. So if you feel like you're in a half guard position and your hands are close together around his waist, don't be afraid. Lock your hands around the waist. We can start initiating the body lock passing, whether you're a top half guard, whether you're in double butterfly. If you can lock your hands around your opponent's waist, it's always a good idea.